What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Logicast, the Logical Gamers podcast. I'm here with the usual suspects. I'm here with Blanca Kong. I'm here with Gunnar Eos. I'm here with Hada Wolf, and yours truly, Mr. Esoteric. And tonight, as we're recording this topic, um, Microsoft just seems to be the redheaded stepchild of the video game universe. We have an article here where people are up in arms about the new subscription fare hike that they've done. The title is Cancellations, Anger, and Frantic Subscription Stacking. The internet reacts to Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass price hike. And right below that, it says money talks. And we already know what the phrase is with that, what follows after money talks. So I'm going to read this article. It is by Wesley Yin Poole, and it was put out on October 2nd of 2025. All right. So here we go. As the dust settled on Microsoft's shock price rise for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which jumped 50% from $19.99 to $29.99 in the US in what amounts to an extra $120 a year, fans reacted with a mixture of anger, cancellations, and frantic subscription stacking. Meanwhile, a poll of 10,000 IGN readers showed 45% of our audience isn't intended in subscribing to Game Pass at all following the news, with just shy of 30% saying they will subscribe to Ultimate despite the price rise. Okay. To justify the increase in price of Ultimate, Microsoft has increased the number of day one releases per year to 75 and has added Fortnite Crew and Ubisoft Plus classics for the first time ever. There are also upgrades to Xbox Cloud gaming streaming quality.
Don't laugh too hard at the same
So,
time.
you're so exciting. You're so excited.
The
You're giddy.
Ubisoft
Giddy
just
with excitement.
the Ubisoft just made me laugh, just made me chuckle a little bit there. I couldn't hold it. So Ubisoft Plus Classics valued at $7.99, £6.99 per month per platform is now part of Ultimate starting November 18th. Fortnite Crew, which itself costs $11.99, which is in dollars, $9.99 per month in pounds, will be included in Ultimate with access to the Fortnite Battle Pass and 1,000 V-Bucks each month. The cloud gaming boost amounts to better performance. Ultimate subscribers exclusively enjoy our best quality streaming and shortest wait times, Microsoft said. Xbox Cloud Gaming has also officially exited beta as part of our commitment to make gameplay smoother and more responsive. Damn, it must have been beta for quite some time because I've known about this for like quite a few years. Moving along, Microsoft said the new $30 a month Ultimate price reflects the expanded catalog, new partner benefits, and upgraded cloud gaming experience. Xbox Game Pass tier and price changes October 2025. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate $29.99 a month, up from $19.99 a month. Xbox Game Pass Premium $14.99 a month, the same as the old standard subscription. Xbox Game Pass Essential $9.99 a month, the same as the old core subscription. PC Game Pass $16.49 a month, that is a weird number, up from $11.99. The updated pricing went into effect on October 1st for new subscribers and will go into effect on November 4th for current subscribers. As part of the announcement, Microsoft added more than 45 new games to Game Pass, including Hogwarts Legacy, which, if you go to GameStop right now, is probably $20 for you to keep as a physical copy at this moment. Despite these extras, has the Ultimate price rise forced a rethink among Game Pass subscribers? IGN readers have been discussing the changes and offering their thoughts in the comments. They make for interesting reading, with some saying they have now canceled their subscription. Hertzwin, for example, pointed out that $360 a year The new price for Ultimate across 12 months is the same cost as buying 5 full price games a year at $70. Looking at the new Microsoft Studios releases, I don't see 5 games in any year I'd want to play, they said. There is no savings here anymore for an average gamer. $30 a month is insane, added Dippin' Donzy. No way I'm keeping Game Pass now. I've already been moving more and more towards Steam. This is just the final nail in the coffin for me. I have been an Xbox defender since the beginning, but this officially crosses the line, commented Shoe Flavored 1313. Can't believe I'm finally bailing on Game Pass, but today's that day. I just canceled. I'll go back to buying games. Okay. Real Frowns, however, insisted Ultimate still offered them decent value. By the end of this year, I will have played well over $500 worth of day one additions to Game Pass, they said. So even at $360 a year, I would still be saving money with Game Pass, especially if you take into account that I'd still need to subscribe to Core so my kids can play Xbox Online. So it's only a difference of $240 a year that I'm paying to play those $500 games. That said, the gap between what I'm playing and what I'm paying for gets smaller and smaller, which makes it quite a bit less appealing. And at least one IGN reader sees value in the new perks included in Ultimate. My initial thought was, ouch, $30, but if it includes Fortnite Crew, which I'm already paying for, then this isn't so bad. I can cancel Fortnite Crew since it will come with Game Pass, said Link 3200. Even GameStop got in on the act before confirming it will continue to sell Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for $19.99 a month in-store and online, despite Microsoft's official price rise. So there is a, I guess, Twitter response from GameStop adding to the Microsoft debacle. It says, Game Pass, $29.99 every month, own nothing. GameStop, buy once, own forever. Math isn't that hard. You know, this take sounds very familiar from when Sony and Microsoft had beef, when Microsoft tried to introduce digital media into the world. And, well, there's more. Meanwhile, some Xbox fans have jumped on subscription stacking in a frantic bid to get ahead of the Ultimate price hike. As IGN explained, the best option for existing Ultimate subscribers was to stack their membership to its limit, 36 months, while the change had yet to kick in at retailers like Amazon. Microsoft will, of course, have braced itself for this sort of reaction and will have run the numbers on a variety of scenarios before deciding to hike the price. Perhaps it factored a degree of cancellations into its projections. It's also worth noting that Microsoft has said Game Pass reached a new annual record of nearly $5 billion in revenue this year, following the launches of The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, Doom: The Dark Ages, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The upshot of all this is Xbox fans are faced with more expensive gaming. Last month, Microsoft raised the price of Xbox consoles in the US due to changes in the macroeconomic environment. Microsoft similarly raised eyebrows when it confirmed a $999,099 price tag for the upcoming ROG Xbox Ally X handheld and a $599.99 for the ROG Xbox Ally. At least Microsoft U-turned on $80 games for this holiday season. So we have quite a lot to unpack there. Microsoft has been pretty busy when it comes to adjusting their prices. Given their track record, quote unquote, of success when it comes to the gaming industry, what are you guys' thoughts on this tactic? Like, do you think that this is all gonna blow over in Microsoft's face? Do you think that this is a strategy that's gonna go under the radar after the dust settles and all the customers that canceled have finalized their cancellations? What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
This was inevitable because the industry is no longer about creating good products and building, strong community. It's about just profiting and breaking records every year. There is this thing called the plateau. Plateau being there's a limit, there's a cap, there's kind of like a resting point, and we have hit that resting point a long time ago. And these companies, Microsoft especially, has been um, hell bent on breaking past records. And it's not on any particular set of developers or anything like that. This is just capitalism doing capitalism things, and this is just corporate America being corporate America in 2025, and this is the result of that. So this was inevitably going to happen. We saw Microsoft increase the prices of their Xbox hardware twice in the last 2 years, I believe, and now they're increasing the price of their services, and they've also eliminated basically first party exclusivity to their IPs, because now you could find a lot of Xbox only IPs on the PlayStation 5 and on PC. And I'm sure if they could make it happen, they would put stuff on Switch too if they could make it work. Um, they're, this is a Hail Mary attempt at trying to make as much money as possible. And if I think their logic is, yeah, we're gonna ruffle a few feathers. Yeah, the internet's gonna lose their shit. Yeah, people are gonna boycott and complain. But we've seen this happen before with other companies, specifically Pokemon. There's been many backlashes with Pokemon, like, oh, we're not going to buy the new game. And then they break records. Most recently, Ghost of Yotai. That's a game I'm not going to buy. But, and I swore I was going to boycott it for various reasons. And I am going to boycott it. And a lot of people said the same thing. And that game broke records. So it's like, I'm pretty sure Microsoft and executives are like, you know what? We're just going to call their bluff. We're going to just do what we're going to do. And let's see where the chips fall. We could afford the loss, worst case scenario. And we're going to see what happens. I don't think they're going to be as fortunate as Pokemon and Ghost of Yotai to, reference my previous examples. But I think they're willing to take the hits on the chin because they've always taken hits ever since the original Xbox 25 years ago. They have never really been profitable, even with the Xbox 360 being their most profitable hardware. All of the defects and having, staying on top of customer service and replacing units and repairing units, that ate up all of the profitability that they did make off of the 360. So technically, at the bottom line, they never made money. Xbox has never been profitable, and at this rate, it never will be profitable. And I think that'll be justification enough for them to pivot to a service only model. I think they're going to dip out of the hardware race eventually, probably sooner rather than later. And they're just going to become a publisher, and that'll be it. Console gaming will be one step further toward extinction with the departure of Xbox. That's my future prediction. We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's my initial thoughts there. I have more to say, but I'll let the rest of the guys speak.
Yeah, so Khan covered a lot of the points, but I got some other points that I'll bring up. Um, I think this is just, yeah, it's a money grab. This is just Xbox. In my opinion, this is just Xbox. They should this is them on their way to just becoming a third party developer. I think they should just become a third party developer. I don't get their strategy other than price gouging their existing player base, which arguably how much of an existing player base do they have? Like their major key franchises are shells of their former selves. Halo's a shell of its former self. Gears of War's got a little bit life left in it with this prequel coming out. Um, we'll see what becomes of that. Fable is wherever it is. It's in the ether currently. Um, and their Bethesda buy it. The Bethesda purchase is not making a whole lot of dividends. Starfield did not do very well. Oblivion did well. Funny enough, a remake of a very old game did well, but Anthem, not Anthem, sorry. It's a game that was made by um Avowed. There you go.
Avowed.
That's not
Yeah.
good. Avowed kind of just didn't bomb, but it's just there. It's a thing that exists. Didn't make them a billion trillion dollars, and the list goes on, right? They Xbox has had a lot of strikeouts and misses. Um, so like Xbox as a brand, as an identity, doesn't even really exist anymore. Kong mentioned that a lot of their top performing titles, games like Airplane Simulator, Flight Simulator, the Gears of War series, more than likely Halo, very soon, are playable on their once major competitor, PlayStation, Sony. I can play Gears of War on my PlayStation 5, and I can play it with Xbox players. So it even has crossplay. Flight Simulator's dropping for PlayStation 5 soon. More than likely, the Gears of War prequel will be also dropping on PlayStation 5. Uh, and I imagine the if there is another Halo game, that will be on PlayStation 5. So the reason to own Xbox doesn't really exist anymore, and kind of solidified that with Game Pass, because Game Pass, a lot of the defense of Game Pass that I saw, which I kind of agreed with to a certain extent, was that it was it was like the ultimate savings value. If you were the type of guy that didn't care about owning physical media and you wanted to play the latest games, you'd get Game Pass because it would give you the latest games. If you got Game Pass Ultimate, the one that's taken the biggest hit in price, you would get day one access to all of Microsoft's first party titles. So anything Bethesda related, any Gears of War, Halo, Fable, any of that, you'd get it day and date with its release for at the time $15. That's a lot of people could argue that that's a really good value because you're getting a 60, 70, 80 dollar game for roughly 15 bucks a month, and some of these players are not like you or I. Um they'll go through games in a weekend and they'll move on to the next game. They don't care about New Game Plus. They don't care about replaying it a year from now. They just play it because it's the new hotness. They beat it, or they get far enough and they move on to the next thing. Um, Now that's not the case. Now the value of Ultimate, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to kind of justify that value because $30 a month, that's somehow more than Netflix, which has gone up, more than a lot of streaming services, and not as much as PlayStation because PlayStation is a little egregious with their shit. But anyway, um, the appealing factor of Game Pass's value doesn't really exist anymore. So the last holdouts of Game Pass and Xbox are going to be like, why am I still supporting these guys? I might as well just go to PlayStation 5, um, pay for their service, and I will get games like Ghost of Yotai, Last of Us, the new Rockstar, not Rockstar, the new um, Naughty Dog game, Interstellar, um, like they'll get that, which to some people is they're better games. So yeah, I don't know. To me, this is I agree with Kong. It's the last gasp of a dying brand, and I think before we know it, Xbox is just going to be a third party developer that makes Halo and Gears of War and Fable. That's about it. I think that we're going to be bowing out of the console market very soon and just be a third party developer.
Honestly, I think you guys said it all. I don't really have much to add to that. Um, but I think overall, at least for a while still, the Game Pass is going to be pretty successful because there's so many people in the world who, I mean, like Kong said, will complain but still fold when the time comes. So, until it starts to really eat at their pockets before they actually give in, which for some people, even if they don't have it, they'll still pay it. um, but yeah, you guys really said uh, what I was, well, what I would agree with. I don't have much to add to it other than um, it's people are still gonna put it's gonna still financially support it for a while at least. So even if they do stop with their consoles and become strictly third-party developers, it'll be a while from now. That's all I have to say for now.
Okay, okay. So here's my question, right? Because it seems like the constant pattern is that Microsoft tends to throw these Hail Marys when it comes to like the Xbox. They're always tending to like, it's kind of like when you play football and they call offsides because they jumped the line before they were supposed to snap the ball. It seems like that's what Xbox always does. And to go back like quite a few years ago when they initially introduced the premise of having a digital only console in terms of like glorified installation discs. They didn't have no content. People raged about that, and then here we are now in today's world where like a lot of games don't have all the data on the disc, and it's like I'm pretty sure Microsoft is just sitting there. You know that guy in the meme that has like his hands on his hips and he's just like looking at the people or whatever with like a very angry look on his face. That's how Microsoft looks, and it seems to be that's the constant trend with them. It's like they're always moving the goalposts, and they get flack for it. But when other when other companies do it, it's like nobody says much of anything. Could it be that their methods are a bit more egregious? Is that why they get more flack than the other companies, or is it that the things that they're attempting to implement is too soon, and the other companies that they are competing with are gradually kind of like waiting for the right moment to introduce these things to them? Because yeah, again, that's what seems to happen with Microsoft from what I've seen.
Um, how can I put this? All right, I'm gonna go back to what Kong said earlier about comparing them to like having for instance, a Pokemon franchise where people complain about how subpar it's become, but yet still financially dive into it. The difference, I think, not that I'm trying to justify it, but the Pokemon has a few advantageous tactics to that supports it, such as nostalgia
Hmm.
um, and familiarity, because of it's a singular franchise with specific characters, whereas this is a company that's becoming a subscription based entity where it's more like comparing. I guess it'd be less to compare to things like Pokemon and compare more things like Netflix or Hulu or something, right? It's just strictly subscription based, really.
Yeah.
But the reason why like Pokemon franchises like Pokemon get away with it is one, it's a focused franchise on a specific set of characters. It has nostalgia, and it's a one-time purchase. So if I spent $80 on the Pokemon game, that's $80 one time. To deal with this subscription thing, it's a monthly, yearly, however you want to choose to pay it, kind of it becomes a consistent financial responsibility. And again, I'm not saying that Pokemon is better for what they do. I'm just saying it in a comparison where you're looking at how fast your bank account deplete. One franchise is a one-time purchase, whereas the other one or the other company's practice is a commitment that you is kind of constantly hit your bank account. So I think that's the when we use Kong's example from earlier, that's the biggest difference on why one is easier to be scrutinized than the other, or why one is going to stand out more than the other. But at the end of the day, like I said, there's so many people who will still pour their financial earnings into this system that Microsoft is creating that I honestly don't see them taking a hit anytime soon, or taking or seeing that backlash, that financial backlash anytime soon. But eventually they will, because that's when people are going to start to see like this is too much money. Um, you know, it- I don't know. I think it's just going to eventually hit them, but I don't think it's going to do it anytime soon.
To agree. I think the way you could sell this to a normie would be, hey, would you rather buy one game, for $80, because that $80 price point is gonna. I'm pretty sure they talked about it, and this kind of pushed to make the decision to go into this direction. They're probably going to go in this direction anyway, but the whole conversation around $80 games is a volatile one where people are like, I'm not buying the game. $80, absolutely not, right? And they're like, that's perfect. That's what we want. We want you to spend less per month to access the same games that you'd spend $80 per. We just give us $30 a month. That's a lot more. Like a lot of people would fall for that,
Yeah.
and and some people who even don't necessarily fall for it will still feel better about that ordeal, right? Like credit card debt is a huge thing in North America and United States. Like why? Why is that? Why are you spending money you don't actually have? Well, because it's accessible.
Hmm.
It's within reach, and so a $30 monthly subscription is more within reach than an $80 game
Yeah.
that you might just be or might not even like, right? So I do see there was a conversation or there's positives to the Game Pass, even in its new form. Not for me personally, and not to mention like some people don't want to deal with physical media, right? They don't want to
Yeah.
store it, they don't want to handle it, they don't want to look at it, right? They just want it on the box, right, and
Yeah.
be done with it. And I understand that. The convenience is king, and so there's that. People also aren't good at calculating long-term costs, right? They'll just look at everything in the short term. So that goes back to my point about $30 being a lot more attractive than $80 per game, right? Um, and then with all the additions of these other services, like the Fortnite Crew package and the Ubisoft Plus or whatever, say what you will about Ubisoft games, they're shit to me. They're shit to a lot of us, but to the normies, they're A+ games, right? And so if the normal person who just kind of wants to play a game and they're not in this space and they don't listen to conversations like this and they don't read the articles we just went through, and they just want to play a game, they're like, wow. So for $30 a month, I get access to Assassin's Creed. I get access to whatever indie game. I get access to. I love Fortnite or whatever. I get access to $8 of Fortnite dollars and all the old skins. Like, there's a lot of value to be had there. It's just, to me and to a lot of like more hardcore players, we could see through the bullshit, and we're better at like assessing what's actually valuable. And so it won't work on us, but we are the minority. And so I think they'll see success. Will they see the success that they want to see? I don't think so. I think they're not gonna go bankrupt or anything like that. But I don't think they're gonna break records like the way that they want to. It's just not gonna happen because, like I said earlier, we've hit a plateau. Everybody who's a gamer has a game system by now. Like I don't, unless there's like kids, coming into the world who are being introduced to games. Like I don't see this like spike of the population of gamers going like, we're not going to see a repeat that we saw in the 2010s where like all of a sudden, you know 5 million new players are online with the launch of whatever game. Like I don't think we're going to see that.
Nah.
I think that has happened. It's done. A lot of those new players are going to be mobile players. They're not going to be on consoles. It's just that that's behind us now, and I think they're trying to capture that lightning in the bottle again, and it's just not going to happen. So right now they're just like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to charge what we're going to charge, and we're going to try and make as much profit as possible off of hardware and off of services. And last point, they kind of have to charge this much technically if you think about it, because if they have access to Ubisoft Plus and access to Fortnite Plus or whatever the hell it's called, like they have to pay Ubisoft for
Mm-hmm.
that service to bundle it, and they have to pay Epic to bundle that with their Game Pass. Like
Yeah.
that's an investment, so they have to make money to kind of pay off those leases, those digital leases to those other, other companies. So like it or not, they kind of have to charge more. I don't like it. I mean, I'm not gonna pay for it. I'm not interested. I'm
Yeah.
good, but like I get it to a degree, and I don't have access to their books, so I don't know the numbers. But like, I could, I kind of understand it. So I don't know. That was it though. Go ahead.
Another thing, this is different. It's in the same family, but it's different from the Game Pass stuff. Is Microsoft's seemingly insane new portable console, the ROG Ally. There's two versions of it. One, I believe, runs for 600 something, and the one that people are talking about that you'll more than likely see articles about is the premium edition that is $1,000. It's going to be $1,000 plus. To me, that is insane because one, the ROG Ally is already a portable PC that exists. You can buy it. Now, this one is souped up apparently. It's beefier. It has Xbox Game Pass already integrated into it. But like $1,000 for a portable PC that already exists is asinine to me. And I don't think Microsoft has that hardcore audience that Sony and definitely Nintendo do. Because Sony has their Portal, which, from my understanding, did okay. People bought it, they play it, and they enjoy it. Nintendo has their Nintendo adults that will buy literally anything. They're going to buy a Virtual Boy soon. One of Nintendo's most like their worst performing consoles until the Wii U came around. People are going to buy that and play it and think it's cool. So Sony can get away with it to a certain degree. Nintendo can definitely get away with it. Microsoft cannot. They don't have this, at least from a guy looking from the outside in, they don't have this brand loyalty to charge $1,000 for a portable PC when we're in a world where there are a plethora of portable PCs. You can get a Steam Deck. You can get a ROG Ally. There are a bunch of different Asian brands, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, that you can get. Like the portable PC market is huge. So I don't get the methodology behind that particular console. I find it funny, and I think it's just another weird shot in the dark Microsoft is taking to try to make money, and it's just like,
Here's the thing about that. What's the price of a regular ROG Ally, a non Xbox branded one?
Like maybe seven
let's
hundred or something. Well, depending upon the specs, like it's like $100 difference between. Uh,
There's like the regular one, and then there's like the premium one, right?
yeah, yeah. I think it's like
Okay,
either $6.99 and then the other one is $7.99 or something like that, if I'm not
okay.
mistaken.
Microsoft, the ROG Ally is not a Microsoft product. It is
Hmm.
a Asus product.
Hmm.
They didn't invest anything as far as like research and development toward this thing. So all they're doing is literally slapping Xbox on it, adding the Game Pass in there, and I'm sure they, technologically speaking, there are like certain parts that are in there that make it a little better than the standard ROG Ally. I don't know that for sure. I'm gonna assume that that's the case, or presume that that's the case. To them, that they're just making extra money, and like for Asus, it can be a good deal because some people might actually buy the ROG Ally Xbox edition because it's like, well, it's Xbox, it's Microsoft. They're the king. Like those consumers are out there. Cell phones are selling for well over $1,000 at this point. Um, so is it is it as insane as we think it is for this console to be at that? I think it's insane, but is it though? And I think that's their logic. They're like, well, let's test the waters. Fuck it, let's just put it out there. Let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, we lose a bunch of money. We'll make it back on these other channels. It's fine. right? Like I think that's their, um, I think that's their perspective. They have nothing. They have very little to lose and everything to gain, right? Because if it sells really well and it performs really well, then hey, we're geniuses. And if not, then oh, we kind of anticipated that. That's okay, right? They refuse to disclose certain numbers. Like they talk about the success and the population of Game Pass players playing particular games, but they don't want to disclose like development costs for said game and then how many units that they actually sell. Like they're real like shady with their numbers because and whenever a company's like kind of secretive with numbers like that, it tells me everything I need to know. It's like, well, okay, then it's a failure, right? Because if it was a success, you'd be boasting about it all over. Um, so we'll see what happens. I don't think they're gonna go bankrupt, but I think this is just a Hail Mary attempt. It's just a way to we're just gonna we're just going to charge what we feel is appropriate, and we'll see where the chips fall. It's a buyer's market. Those in the market will determine whether or not what's acceptable and what isn't. And so far, there's been a lot of business practices that I don't agree with that I would have thought would have never taken off, but have taken off, like games as a service. People are eating that shit up. How? I have no fucking idea. But it's happening. It's successful. Gotcha games. I know people who spend hundreds, thousands of dollars on digital fucking characters. And then for the games to shut down on them a year after, and I would go, man, didn't you spend like $2,000 on this game in like 2 months? Yeah, and now you can't play it because the game just went away. Yeah, and you're just like okay with that. Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's like how can you like? I look at people like this and I go, how can you continue on? Like I would be so pissed off and like jaded about that, and these people are just kind of like, and it's just like what the fuck? That's crazy to me, but that's these people are out there, and I think there's a lot more of them than there is of me, and so I don't think Xbox is gonna fail as hard as we kind of expect or want them to. But I also don't think they're gonna be as successful as they probably want to be. It's gonna be somewhere in the middle. So
Oh yeah, no, for sure. They're not gonna fail. I don't think they're gonna fail. Microsoft is Microsoft, most popular operating system in the world. They'll be
Mm-hmm.
fine. If we narrow it down to the gaming division, it's like the WNBA. It will stay operational no matter how much in the red they are. It's just weird that like not weird, but it's just striking that a lot of this stuff happened pretty much back to back to back. The raising the prices on their console, the attempt at raising the price of their first party video games to $80, which is not the case now, but we're more than likely you're going to see $80 soon. It's going to happen. It's one of those things where the backlash was too hot, they pulled back a little bit, they're going to wait a little bit and try it again later. So I'm just going to call $80 games eventually coming.
Well,
Um
maybe it could be that maybe it all could be just a ruse to push people into the Xbox cloud gaming, right? Because let's say you're a customer, you want to buy a console, right? But the price range is like way too steep for you. You might be more inclined to playing Xbox cloud gaming because it's a service that allows you to play Xbox games without a console. So I think the reason why they're kind of hiking up the prices to kind of like strong arm people into moving a certain type of way that's a little more fiscally feasible, because if you raise the price on one thing but you have avenues to kind of utilize the service in another way, I think what they're going for is that customers will be more inclined to utilizing that other way to meet their needs. So
see
that's my guess.
the problem with that though is that I have no reason to be loyal to Xbox. I have none whatsoever. Their
Yeah,
their
you might
games are
not,
on.
but there's a
No,
lot of
but like
people
if
who
you
do.
think of it, if you think of it as an objective, like the one thing that creates loyalty is brand exclusivity. Xbox no longer has brand exclusivity. Most, if not all, of their games are available on their competitor, which is arguably better. Because if I'm a PlayStation owner and I want to play Gears of War, God of War, Last of Us, and Flight Simulator, I'm just going to play it all on a PlayStation. why am I going to even look at an Xbox? The reason Nintendo can charge 70 or 80 for their new Pokemon game and then charge you DLC for Raichu on the same day is because they know if I want my Pokemon fix, I can only get it from Nintendo. I can't get it from anywhere else. Xbox doesn't have that. It's just like I'll go play Gears of War on PlayStation and it'll probably be better. I'll probably find more players there than I will on an Xbox. It's just like so the Xbox is doing a lot of things, but they have no loyalty. Like they have no reason for me to be on an Xbox other than I've been living under this rock and it's shaped like an X and I don't know anything else exists. Which is not really the case anymore. So that's why I find it baffling that they're doing all this stuff because they don't have the oomph to back it up. Like I'm just gonna go to PlayStation and still play your games there.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe it's a strategy to do what Sega does. You know what I'm saying? Like Sega has been out the console wars for like God knows how long after the Dreamcast, and now it's like they're making games for everyone. So I guess
Yeah,
maybe
but
that's what.
let's be
What?
serious though. Like, let's be real serious. What games is Sega making right now?
Okay, so they make quite a few Sonic games.
Yakuza and Sega and Sonic are the
Yakuza.
big hitters. Big hitters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're big hitters, but it's Yakuza and Sonic. It's like, to me, honestly, it's not a trophy to exactly that you want to exactly take home to mom. You know, it's Sonic survives because of, again, it's nostalgia that is really running Sonic. And well, the Sonic games have gotten better over time, because the recent one that I played with my son, I think, is a pretty good Sonic game. But that's all it is, really, is Sonic, okay, and Yakuza. But when Sega came out of the console race, well, they came out of the console race because of, I guess, whatever was the flaw with the Dreamcast. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure, but I
there
believe
was.
there was a flaw with the Dreamcast.
Yeah, there was a loophole with the Dreamcast
Well,
that allowed you to.
you could
Hmm.
use the Dreamcast to pirate games for the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
Is the biggest reason why he went out
yeah.
of.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, but what I'm saying is that I don't think it's a business practice of theirs. I think it just ultimately, I don't think this, basically what I'm saying is, I don't think this was deliberate. I think this is something that just ended up happening because of just how things happened within the years of them being a part of the console war and whatnot. I don't think it's, I don't think this is a business practice of theirs. I think they came in strong in the console race. They wanted to dominate. They wanted to be number one. They put in a lot of um, efforts into it, and it just backfired. That's all it is. It just backfired because,
Yeah.
like, what do they have now? Just because you didn't want to exist in the space, you wanted to dominate the space.
Trust me, if Starfield, Avowed, um, uh, fucking, if all of their purchases, if they were like big money makers and they were everybody's playing Starfield, like people are still playing Skyrim, if they had that kind of power, they wouldn't be doing all of this. Like Gears of War would be on Xbox, Halo would be on Xbox, and you got to get an
100%.
Xbox to
This is
buy it.
all a response to their failures.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
100%.
fine for
And they
me
have
because you know.
the luxury to have a response. Sega did not have such luxury. Sega had to do what they did back in the back in 99 or 2000, 2001, whenever it is I think the Dreamcast didn't even last a year, I don't think. I think by
No.
2000 they bowed out. They had to do that. They had to pivot. It was life or death. For Microsoft, this is an inconvenience.
Yeah, and again, it's because it's Microsoft, most used operating system in the
And
world.
honestly, I do. I I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but I also feel like at that time, maybe Sega was just being overly ambitious, and that's how they ended up with a console that was not as protected as it should have been.
I agree.
Because if they weren't trying to make a supercomputer for video games, in the time, in the day and age that, video games were their limitations, then maybe they would have made safer a better console, a stronger console, and it would have survived a little bit longer. And I feel like, again, that's what Microsoft did. They came in real strong with the Xbox because they were leading online gameplay with the Xbox when they first came. That was one of the biggest selling points I remember back in high school, was like, oh my gosh, I can play online with this console and it actually runs smooth. It's reliable, which is great. But they started strong, and when you come out the gate running, that means that your expectations is consistent. You have to be consistent in your expectations. Every single time you push something out, it has to be better than the last, better than the next, better than the last, better than the last, better than the last. And when you do something like that, you you're you're training your market to expect that you are going to deliver the best of the best. And sometimes you can't. You just can't. So you end up doing things that you pour money into that the market eventually scrutinizes, and boom, you lose everything.
Yeah.
Because I don't, yeah, you just lose everything. So that's how I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I look at it.
You're
Yeah.
not wrong. A big problem. I'll just say this one point, and you
Yeah.
can go ahead, Gunner. Um, the biggest problem, I think, one of their biggest problems is leadership change. Every time there was a leadership change in Microsoft or there was executive change in Microsoft, that derailed whatever direction they were going into and created this new direction. And so once you have that a few times uh, in the course of like 20 years, you land exactly where we're at now, where it's just like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
and you have too many cooks in the kitchen, and so that's what happened to Microsoft. They too many back in. I think this happened in 2008, something like that, where Microsoft was trying to establish a presence in Japan, and they were actually succeeding to a degree. There's a lot of, like, if you look at the Xbox 360 library, you look at the Japanese exclusive. There's a ton of like visual novel games, a ton of like, you know,
Monster Hunter Frontier was on there, if I'm not
Monster Hunter
mistaken.
Frontier was
Yeah.
on 360 in Japan. They had a lot of like shooter games, like
Mm-hmm.
the airplane shooters, like games, big genres that were really popular in Japan. There's a lot of exclusives on the 360 in Japan. Apparently, there was like a leadership change, and Microsoft is an American company. They were like, why do we have these kinds of games? Like, this is weird. I don't understand it. Cut it. They killed the entire, you know, let's try to establish a presence in Japan project because this guy didn't get it. He just didn't understand. He thought the games were weird. Why are we selling games with girls on it? Like these weird anime girls. Like, what the fuck is that? That's not Microsoft. That's not what we're about. That's not American. Kill it. Who knows if they continue with that, where they would be today? I think they'd find more success, at least in the Japanese region, and I think that would have bled over to the American region because look how well Japanese developed games do here. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that was stupid, right? But they did it, and they paid for it. And but that guy who made that decision is long gone. He's working at another company, getting paid $10 million a year, doing some other shit, railroading another project that could make that company a bunch of money, but this is just the way things are. This is the way things operate in these big companies, unfortunately. So too many cooks in the kitchen was the overall point.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Gunner.
Nah. I mean, yeah. It's just I didn't have much more to add. Really, it was just I know we compared them to Sega. Again, I think it's because they have the monolith, the giant that is Microsoft behind them. The Xbox will probably never be just a third party developer. There will more than likely always be some type of Xbox box around, which is fine. Whatever. I mean, gaming's on the low end for me personally anyway. So the moment Sony slips, that's probably it for me because Nintendo's already sleeping on the couch for me, and Xbox never really existed. I had Game Pass. I recently canceled it. I didn't have Ultimate. I had the basic bitch version, the PC Game Pass. And I felt kind of similar. It's like, okay, cool, I can play Xbox games on my PC. If I find like an interesting AA game or like an older game that I never got around to, I could just download and play it because I'm already paying for it as part of my subscription fee. But for me, this it wasn't a political stance. It wasn't a I'm gonna fight the man. It was like I just don't use this anymore, and let me just get rid of it. I don't use this shit anymore. I'm giving them free money for no reason. That if I'm gonna spend on a subscription fee, it's gonna be something I use. So that's why I canceled it. And then this came around, which is odd, you know, fortuitous timing. But yeah. So I think Xbox will always be around. It's just again, I've said it multiple times on multiple episodes, and I guess I'll say it again. Um, no matter what these corpos do, they're gonna find a way to make all the money. All you can do is be a smart consumer, a smart customer, whatever terminology you want to use. If you think $30 is egregious, yeah, cancel it. And if you have that little suggestion box, type it in. Let them know I canceled because your price gouging has gone insane. Will it mean anything? Maybe, maybe not. But that's all you got. And if you can save your money and put it into another hobby, then all the better for you. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Xbox will be around, but you're probably seeing a lot of YouTube videos like Xbox is dead. Gamers have risen up against Xbox. Xbox is not dead. They'll still be around. Um, they'll have a lot less people subbing, but they'll also have more people subbing because someone's gonna find that Fortnite pass bundle a fucking steal. So it is what it is, man. Just be smart about your money, and I do like things like this because it does put stuff into perspective. People see it's like, oh wow, this new subscription is going to cost me $300 something a year. A lot of people don't have that perspective. That's how subscription fees work. That's how they're designed to work. So if an article or maybe a podcast like ours gets a guy to realize, hey, you're paying $300 something a year for this. Are you cool with that? That's $300 something you can put towards literally anything else. If you're cool with that, carry on, sir. If not, then you might want to think about lowering your tier of subscription or canceling. And that's all we can do at the end of the day. That's my final thought. Just be smart about your money, people. Like it's your money. Everybody wants it. You have to be smart about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. The thing is with Microsoft and their Xbox campaign, it's just really disappointing because I remember like quite a few years ago they were buying out a whole bunch of studios, and I don't know if it was you guys, but my expectation was, okay, so that means that we're gonna get exclusive titles with with the Xbox, because if I'm not mistaken, during the Xbox 360 days, they bought out Rare, and then they made like a Perfect Dark game. It was like, oh, okay. So I thought that was they were gonna follow that same trend and move forward like that, but they just
Well, they were planning on making a new one. It's canned. It's done.
yeah, but that's just one game out of the many studios that they've pocketed, right? They just shelved them from what I've seen. Like it was just
They haven't done anything with Rare. They've barely done.
yeah.
Bethesda's kind of operating as normal, and like I've said a couple times in this episode, the Bethesda games we've gotten, they haven't been all that well received. They haven't done well. Like no one gives a shit about them. People gave more a shit about the Oblivion remake. Come on now, that game is like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Who knows what the new Elder Scrolls is going to look like? Who knows if people are going to care about that? I'm pretty sure Microsoft is really banking on that Elder Scrolls, and now Fable's an indefinite to be announced. So who knows if that's ever going to come out?
Yeah.
And
That's
these are some like heavy hitters for Xbox. When people think of Xbox, a lot of people think of Fable. Fable was kind of up
mhm.
there. I always wanted to play Fable because that was an Xbox exclusive. Now I don't really give a shit what happens.
Yeah. They had in the old days they had like quite a few exclusives. They were leading in the fighting game community, specifically Street Fighter, because like the frame rates were better. So in tournaments, people would utilize Xboxes as opposed to PlayStation 3s. They were, I mean, not saying that they were doing well overall, but like they had a guide, it seemed, and then it seems like it just plummeted afterwards. Like they just went left. But I guess that's to Kong's point about the leadership, which absolutely sucks. But that's unfortunately how businesses go. I mean, you have suits who don't take the time to learn what was working versus what's not working, or try to understand the business in its entirety. They just want to spearhead things and inject their beliefs into the company without any repercussions, and that sucks. And even the Xbox fan, he was like, "Listen, I was a fanboy since Xbox inception, and now it's like they're just doing way too many things. This is the last straw. I'm out." I'm sure
Well,
there's quite a few people who are unfortunately thinking that too. It sucks,
well,
but yeah.
remember, companies, when they bring in new leadership, especially new leadership that affects their financial gain, it's how to make more money and sustain it, not sustain money or the revenue they're making already. They have to be able to show in some capacity that they can create more income for the company. And what that would lead into is um, being able to, um, how can I put it? Being able to change business practices so that they can eventually gain more. Um, so that's a thing that, again, it can backfire, but ideally anybody that's bought into new leadership, they're not going to think about trying to sustain what the system or what the company already has. They want more. How do we squeeze more pennies out of our consumers? That's the overall goal, really.
Which
So,
which which makes sense, but the way I would look at it from my perspective would be, if I had to analogize it, okay, this will is working. How can I make it more efficient? Like if I were a CEO or a bigwig, I would look at, okay, here are the components that are actually working, that's bringing in a lot of revenue. Kind of like research what works from what doesn't. Just my first few months, try to sustain profit just to determine what's working from what's not working, and then inject my ideas like, okay, here's how we can make this better. If you're just coming in my opinion, if you're just coming in trying to make changes out the wazoo with no real direction, you're just gonna cause the company to implode. It's like, and then I think that's why typically with companies, a lot of people within that high position tend to like rotate. It's always like a revolving door. You never really see them stay consistent. It's like after 2-3 years they're gone. Then somebody else comes in. 2-3 years they're gone. It's always consistent because they're expecting a change to be done right now, as opposed to a plan that's being implemented that will start off gradual and then elevate as time goes on. It's just they're too, in a nutshell, they're too greedy. They want the compensation immediately. They don't want to wait.
Yeah, because that's what they're designing. That's
yeah,
their
that's what they're
whole
designed to do.
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah, I know
Like
that.
they're not, yeah, like they're not in it for any kind of like honorable reason or any passionate reason. These guys are fucking con artists. They're snake oil salesperson people.
Absolutely.
They're not. They don't produce anything. Like I was looking as you were talking, I was thinking about like what's that dickhead's name that torpedoed Microsoft and Xbox in 2013? Don Matrick. He left right after the launch of the Xbox One, and then he worked at Zynga and left in 2 years after Zynga started to lose money. And
Yeah.
now he has a firm where he's advising other executives on how to be an executive. And this is like,
But okay,
it's
and
it's, it's, it's insane.
here's the thing that baffles me, right? Because it's like, okay, I look for a new job. They look at my resume. They do a background check. Are they not doing background checks on these CEOs to determine how much revenue they made in prior companies and what they contributed? Like,
Apparently not. They just look at
Nah,
you
it's
worked at Microsoft, and they'll put like, oh, and this year I generated this amount of money for Microsoft, and I helped launch the Xbox One, and they don't dig in like, all right, what did you actually do? They just look at face. It's just like how people just read headlines, article headlines, and don't read the actual article. It's just like
that's true. But I figured companies
it's the same
talk. I
thing.
figured it's like, hey, this
Well,
guy did.
companies are ran by people, and a lot of people are fucking stupid.
True.
So
What is it called? The PETA principle. Yeah. The higher you
that,
get,
or they're
the
all they're all friends and buddies with each other. So it's just like, let's just get on the merry-go-round, and it's my turn at Nintendo now. It's my turn at EA, and it's just like, well, eventually someone's gonna get the broken horse, and it's just like, oh shucks, my horse broke. Let me get on another horse. Be all right. That
yeah,
horse is EA, and everybody under it is just fucked. But
it's just so
this
ironic.
is hearsay, but Reggie Fils-Aimé worked at Pizza Hut and made Pizza Hut a lot of money with his ideas. I think he was the one who invented or spearheaded the whole like, you know, $5 box deal or whatever. Like he had like a bunch of initiatives that brought Pizza Hut back into favor with with the public. And then he went to Nintendo. He worked at Nintendo and he had a hand in promoting, at least not creating, but promoting the DS and the Wii and all that. And he was the one apparently who was pushing for Wii Sports to be bundled with the Wii in North America, and it wasn't bundled in Japan. And Miyamoto and other Japanese executives were completely against that. We could sell this, right? And fast forward to now, we see what happened with 1-2 Switch and fucking Nintendo Land and what's the new one? The fucking tutorial that you have to pay $10 for on Switch 2, whatever the
something
fuck that one's called.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever the fuck that's called, right? Those are all failures, right? But look what Veggie Vizame did with the Wii and promoting that console and how successful that thing was, right? Despite it being kind of a piece of shit, really. If we really look at the Wii is not that great. But then he left, and apparently he went to work at GameStop as a board member.
Yeah, I heard he
And
tried that. And
hearsay, he was just like, "All right, guys, so what are we doing to like turn things around?" And he basically got laughed out the room. Oh, we'll figure it out. What do you mean we'll figure it out? What's the plan? Oh, there's no plan. We're just kind of, it's like what? And he left. Like in 6 months, he left the GameStop board of directors. That guy, as far as I could tell, is the kind of executive I would want to work
he
for.
cares.
It's like,
He's
okay,
passionate
this
about.
guy cares to a certain degree. Yeah, he's business oriented. Yeah, he wants to profit, but he has ideas. He wants to push the envelope in a healthy way, not make number go up, fuck the consumer. No,
Yeah,
at least Reggie, yeah, he wanted our money, but he gave us something for our money, right? There was an exchange of value. With these other guys, they just want to fucking con you, and so that's where we're at. And that's most of these companies. They're ran by people like this who just want to fucking rob you in broad daylight and have you smile about it and go laughing at the bank.
yeah. I find it's just I find it super ironic. Back to the revolving door statement I made. It's like if we were to work at companies within a 2 to 3 year span and then move to another one, if that was our track record, companies would be like, they'll be unlikely to hire you because it's like you're not loyal. But meanwhile, the person who's running the
The rules
entire
are different.
ship, it's
The rules are
just
different for us.
yeah, it's
They're just
ironic.
different.
It's just so ironic, man. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, I mean, Xbox is always gonna be there. You guys already summarized that. Surmise that. Excuse me. It's always gonna be there because Xbox has a lot of money. I mean, not Xbox. Microsoft has a lot of money, so they can sustain the Xbox as much as they wish to. At this point, it seems like it's just a matter of them stopping this entire operation would be equivalent to them throwing in the towel. And because they don't want to, and they don't want to appear that way, I think that's why they're keeping Xbox on life support and whatever implementations around that is why they're trying to, like, they don't want to be perceived as losers. But yeah, before I close out, do you guys have any other last points, or we're
No, I
done
think we
beating a
beat
dead
this.
horse?
No.
We beat this horse to death. Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, unless you got $30 for me. No, I don't say.
Well, with that being said, I want to take the opportunity to thank my fellow panelists for the wonderful, enlightening conversation. And also to thank you, the viewers, for watching this hour-long discussion pertaining to Xbox and their shenanigans. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you agree with Xbox's marketing? Do you agree with the fair hike? Do you disagree with what they're implementing nowadays? Do you think that Xbox is going to make it well beyond the years of what people suspect them to make it to? Just let us know in the comments. And also subscribe to our podcast channel. We air a topic every Wednesday at 12 p.m. EST. And we're always having different random conversations like this. It's always engaging, always fun. We find it as a means to just, shoot the shit with one another, because we're all very close friends, and, this is all we do. We talk shit and play games. Also, subscribe to the other platforms. We have all the platforms listed right below the reference article. So there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Discord. And also subscribe to the main channel where I do 2-minute reviews, unboxes. I also stream there as well. I pretty much do a shit ton of things there. So with that being said, thank you again. Thank you so much once again. I swear I can talk. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And last but certainly not least, if it ain't gaming, it ain't logical, folks. Peace.